turn to Exhibit 8, page 9.
So funny to me.
Which is funny.
I'm reading this. So she has this horrific experience, and then a second situation, she agreed to come by my room briefly. Now, why would she do that? I'm sorry. I didn't even, like I said, some of this is still kind of fresh.
Additional footage courtesy of Nick Rekieta on Vic's deposition has now officially been revealed, as Vic goes as far as to touch up on certain subjects asked by the lawyers that I found to be very fascinating, as we are going to be touching bases on this video, not only addressing his ex-fiancée / wife, but also the fans in attendance that he tried to comfort and be there for, not knowing that certain people just didn't feel comfortable being around him due to his nature of having to extend himself via hugs and kisses. As once more, before we begin, if you are new to this channel and want to be kept up to date with all things involving Vic Mignogna, Monica Rial, Ron Toye, and many of the news and updates involving the Vic Mignogna case, then be sure to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. Be sure to go on ahead and slap a like down below by giving this video a big thumbs up if you guys do stand with Vic, as well as making sure to check out and subscribe to my main channel over at UnrealNetwork, to where there you guys will be able to find lots of anime and Dragon Ball content that you guys will not get to find on here. So be sure to subscribe over on that channel, in which you guys can find the link to UnrealNetwork located down in the description box below, and follow me at Twitter at UnrealNetwork to stay connected with me at all times. And if you have anything you would like to share or tag me in involving Vic Mignogna or any of the parties involved in this case, then be sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter. Now, right from the start, I do want to go on ahead and play a very small portion of this deposition that I found to be very interesting, but yet very truthful on Vic's behalf, in touching bases on what happened with his ex-fiancée / wife during the times of being in a monogamous relationship.
That block quote appears to me to be a quote from Ms. Spector, former fiancée.
Yes, sir.
First paragraph, last sentence says, "I've had to face the reality that the loving monogamous relationship I believed and was devoted to never existed." Do you agree with Ms. Specht's hindsight review of your relationship?
No, it certainly did exist at some point, but I failed Michelle miserably. I deeply regret that.
Now, this is something that I deeply stand against Vic with, is the idea of being engaged or being married to somebody and being a part of a monogamous relationship and then going behind your partner's back to do things to betray your partner's trust. That's called cheating. And a lot of us have either A, experienced what it was like to be cheated on, or B, have cheated on people ourselves. And mostly every single person watching this video had either been through one or the other. That just makes us human, and that makes none of us perfect. Vic Mignogna is not perfect. He is not guilty, in my opinion. He is not guilty in this case, but he is not an innocent person. There is a difference between the two. Now, I'm not going to go around and poke at people's appearances like many other YouTubers do. I'm not about that. I'm gonna poke fun of your stance in criticizing your overall pragmatic view on why you think you are correct in your assertion. I'm not going to go as far as to make someone's appearance like many other people have done through YouTube, through Twitter. It's the lowest common form of trying to appeal to a narrative, and that's not what I'm about. For me, I would rather tackle your own subjective point as to why you believe a certain stance. And here, I do agree with people when they say that Vic messed up. Vic messed up big time in this case when he betrayed Michelle's trust. Does that make him an awful person? Does that make him a monster? No, because as I've stated before, we as people make mistakes. And you, the viewer watching, whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, you're going to make mistakes until the day you die. Nobody watching this video is a perfect person. Not me, not you, not Vic, anybody. So in this case, yes, he did mess up. However, unlike many people, he owned up to this mistake. He admitted that he had done these things and that he is deeply sorry for that. Why is that so hard for anyone to accept? In the fact that if he's owning up to it and he's apologizing for it, what more do you want from the guy? So I appreciate the fact that he went as far as to address the fact that he did mess up and that he did betray Michelle's trust and that he deeply regrets that, because that is something that not a lot of people, including men and or women, do.
The reason you consider them to be defamatory is what?
Because they clearly imply that I am guilty of harassment, threatening behavior. There's no proof or evidence of that. And if I'm not mistaken, Funimation on the phone told me that they were not going to be releasing any public statement when they terminated me. I should say Sony. In the conversation they called me and terminated me, they said they would not be releasing any public statement. And shortly after, I can't remember, a week, 2 weeks after, maybe a week, they released these tweets publicly.
Okay. Were there any other tweets other than these tweets?
Not that I'm aware of.
Now this really sucks for those that have loved the original English dub for Broly. As we already know right now, truth be told, they are going to be replacing the Broly character in the foreseeable future, so if they ever decide to bring back Dragon Ball Super and retell the Broly movie in the form of an arc, I'm fairly certain that once the English dub comes around, we aren't going to have Vic Mignogna be casted as the lead voice for the Broly character, which sucks ultimately in the fact that I think that Funimation is allowed to fire an employee without any rhyme or reason, as is any other employer per se, but the fact that they told Vic Mignogna that they weren't going to put out any kind of public statement involving this issue, when in fact, as according to Vic, a week later they did, is kind of shady tactics on the end of Funimation. So that really sucks to hear, and if you're hoping to see the return of Dragon Ball Super in the foreseeable future, and for there to be any kind of retelling of Broly, don't expect for Vic Mignogna to be casted as Broly, because in the long run, Funimation will more than likely be recasting him for somebody else.
I apologize for not really considering, that while there may be 500 people who appreciate that kind of kindness, there may be a few that don't. When they're visibly emotional or upset and you're wanting to be comforting and kind to them, all of these things happened in full public view of many people standing around, shooting videos, taking pictures. It wasn't sexual in any way. It wasn't private or sadistic or weird in any way. It was literally meant as an act of kindness.
Now here Vic is apologizing to all those that he met in public that seemed to be concerned or seemed to be down, and he was simply trying to cheer them up. And even though he figured that 500 people would be appreciative of this act of kindness, there could be a few people within that crowd that aren't too fond of being hugged or being kissed or just being, appreciated to that extent to where in which Vic wanted to have his fans feel appreciated. But that comes from, I do believe, a nature to where Vic was probably brought up from an Italian family, kissing, hugging, just like many people do in Europe. The Italians, the Albanians, the Romanians, the Polish, the Yugoslavians, the Russians, the French, people that live in Europe and come from those countries, they often greet you by hugging, kissing, hey, how you doing, stuff like that. So when certain people aren't accustomed to that, they would feel uncomfortable. Why is this guy hugging me? Why is this guy kissing me on the cheek, on the forehead, yada yada yada. So Vic is apologizing to that extent in making sure that anyone that felt uncomfortable during that time, that he sincerely apologizes, as that wasn't his intention. But by the end of all of this, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Where do you guys stand with Vic? If you guys do stand with him, be sure to give this video a big fat like. Follow me on Twitter at UnrealNetwork, because I do want to go on ahead and talk to you guys and showcase more of your thoughts and your comments on future videos like this. I do believe that what's happening to the man right now is completely awful in this cancel culture like society, in a society to where even after you apologize, you're still being demonized and scrutinized in the public. So again, if you have any experiences of your own, drop them in the comment section, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, guys, and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload. Subscribe to my main channel at UnrealNetwork. There, we're going to be covering alternative content, Dragon Ball, anime, gaming, all that good stuff, guys. So I will leave you guys off with some clips from the Deposition and allowing you guys to come up with your own judgments. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys.
But I have never encouraged anyone to do anything hateful or negative attacking, certainly not death threats.
And anybody associated with you, do you know if they've encouraged that type of behavior?
No, sir. I've heard people tell that they've received death threats, and I've also heard that every time they're put on the spot to produce said death threats, they never do. I don't know if that's true or not. So I've heard the buzz, but I don't really have any personal knowledge.
Right.
Well, there's a difference between doing something on a regular basis and no idea where somebody would get that.
All right, have you ever done that? You ever at a convention in front of people reached your hand up behind a woman's hair and pulled her head back?
No.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
Okay.
I had no indication when it happened or in the years that followed that we've been friends and interacted that there was anything offensive or painful about it. In my mind, my recollection, it was very casual, playful interaction, as happens all the time in the hallways of Funimation.
But you would agree that she certainly could have perceived it differently than you.
Sure.
This issue is exacerbated by his age, as any 56-year-old who spends so much time interacting with young girls on a website without parental supervision and who then embraces and kisses these children at conventions is going to raise eyebrows, even if innocuous. You agree with that statement?
No, sir. This is completely inflammatory.
You don't think that it's odd that a 56-year-old man embraces and kisses children at a convention is
No, sir.
going to raise eyebrows?
Sorry?
What's inflammatory about the statement?
If I may.
Sure.
So much time. Well, how much is that? Who's to determine how much so much time is on a website without parental supervision? The person who wrote this does not know any of that factually. This is meant to inflame. Hold on. Let me please finish. Embraces and kisses children. Yeah, like every other voice actor does in public for photo ops at conventions. It's not seedy and dirty and pervy. And the vast majority of the people, many of them that I have met over the years, have no problem whatsoever with it. There is a small contingent that does, and I apologized to those people in the tweet where I said, I accept that I need to be more mindful that not everybody is open to that kind of interaction.
Are you familiar with a Twitter kick Vic?
I certainly know of it, yes.
Do you know when it started?
If memory serves, it started very shortly after January 16th, when the first tweets were posted.
And do you blame any of the defendants for that Twitter handle starting?
I don't know their involvement.
Right. Would you agree with me that Twitter handle has gotten some level of notoriety in your community?
Sure.
And would you agree with me that that's also hurt your reputation?
Sure.
Do you know who created the I Stand With Vic Twitter?
No, I don't actually.